There we are. As the layout always has trouble swapping scenes. I'm glad we can hang out.
Classic.
We can always have something consistent here. Speaking of consistency, recording this a week and a half in advance because GDQ coming up, gonna be gone, but we've done it. Lots of streams in a row, but you know, if you're watching on YouTube, this was all done in a nice calculated maneuver. Anyway, enough about me. Let's have the guest introduce themselves.
Hi, how's it going? I'm mrlink2k. I speedrun a variety of games, but I'm mostly known for speedrunning Undertale. I hold the world record in 3 out of the 5 main categories right now. And yeah, like I said, also speedrun other things like Mario 64, Celeste.
Good games.
Yeah,
No issues with those.
very cool. Oh, I also have a 458 in SMB1.
You see, now you're speaking
Gotta
language.
get that one in there.
Yes. See, that's what it's all about. Screw everything else. No, but yeah, it's interesting. Actually, it's funny. I think I had Shay on my show 2 years ago. I still have not played Undertale. I'm so bad. I'm so sorry to the Undertale community for I have
It's a pretty
sins.
good game. Honest, I haven't played the game casually in so long. Like, so many people in my chat always make fun of me because it like seems like I just never played this game casually. But it's just been so long, I just forget.
Well,
Great speed game though.
I feel like once you've played it, like, I don't know if it's the kind of game that has replay value, other than obviously the mechanic of having kind of like different endings and stuff. But you know, once you get into the speedrun scene, I feel like you can't really play that game, especially casually again.
Yeah, I
Unless
feel
you
like
just
with
forget the
Undertale,
dialogue because you skip it all.
I I feel like it's definitely like a game you can replay, but it's probably not the easiest once you start speedrunning it. Yeah.
I do know the game is a little challenging, just a bit. Its tricks are, you know,
Just a little.
a little precise. So not
Basically
having to deal
everything's
with that,
pixel perfect,
yeah.
but everything's pixel perfect. But at least we can buffer most things, except for the final boss.
Well, you know, buffering truly the saving grace of everything.
True.
All right, well, let's go to the beginning, shall we? How did you get started?
So, okay. I think I was first introduced to speedrunning. I know it was from GDQ. I don't remember the exact run. I want to say maybe Super Pitfall, which is like
What?
crazy.
Okay.
Because it's not
Interesting
even a good
choice.
game, but
Is that the SNES game? Or was the There are
um
so many weird Pitfall games and like none of them are good.
no, they're not good, but I remember seeing it. I probably around like 2013, so I was like, what, 8? And then yeah, I remember like thinking to myself like, why are these people clapping? It's just a video game. But
Jeez, all right.
anyway, little did I know. I kept getting like GDQ videos in my recommended for a while, but I never really thought about speedrunning for a while. Eventually, um, my brother and I were playing Super Meat Boy kind of around the same time, and for some reason that made me want to speedrun the game. So that was actually my first speed game.
Like, did you and
I
your brother have like a competition, or were you just like,
Um, I think we both learned the first chapter, and then after that, my brother stopped. But I just kept playing.
weak? No.
So, um, I don't remember exactly like what time it wasn't good. Probably like 50 minutes, and
I feel
the
like
world
most
record is like
people's first runs, they would say it's bad. So I think you're
yeah.
on normal track here.
I mean, it was with like zero preparation at all.
Hmm.
Meat Boy is one of those games where you could kind of just play it and just call it a speed run. So it was kind of a nice first speed game to get into. Um, After that, again, I stopped speed running for like a year though. Um, this is like 2017 now. Um, Around like probably September of 2017, I started getting recommended like a YouTube live stream of a speedrunner, Mr. Jimmy Steel 25. He was grinding SM64 16-star speedruns. I think it was for sub 18. And it was on the Wii U version of the game. So
Hmm.
he was going for Wii U world record, and I was like, "Oh, this is sick! This game's awesome! I need to try this." So,
Just not on Wii U, hopefully.
definitely not on Wii U, but I downloaded an emulator, started speedrunning 16 star. Again, first run's absolutely abysmal. I don't even think my first run's finished. Um, I don't know how familiar you are with like SM64, but for BLJs when I started off, every time I wouldn't just hold the long jump button. I would press it every time, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Absolutely terrible. Um, First runs I also took me forever to get through the last Bowser fight. Probably died like 5, 6 times, but fine.
Hmm.
Um, Again, eventually got sub hour. Probably didn't take too long of grinding because sub hours in 16 star is pretty free. Um, but yeah, I stuck with 16 star for a while. Then um, I got my first sub 30 like not too long after I started, which was cool. Uh, and then yeah, once I got sub 30, I actually started to like meet people in that actually speedrun. People that obviously were kind of the same level as me. So um definitely motivated me more to get better at the game. So I was able to improve, and since I was getting better at like picking up practice skills and stuff, I was able to eventually bring it down to like 23-ish, 22-ish. And then after that, I kind of stopped for a little bit, but um eventually I got the itch to run again. I think Mr. Jimmy Steele was actually hosting a 16-star tournament himself, which kind of motivated me to play the game again. So I got sub 20 finally. Eventually sub 19 even. And by that time, I think my PB was like 1832-ish. Um, so at that point, kind of a respectable time. I think it was top 100 on emulator at the time, which you know we take those. Um, I did terrible in the tournament, by the way. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I played in
Oh,
it.
yeah. Then I
but
guess you didn't do too well.
I don't think I played in it. I remember actually I had like some weird issue with like Project 64 like not reading my controller, and I couldn't figure it out for like weeks. So that kind of halted my speedrunning progress a little bit, but I ended up figuring it out. I have no clue what it was, but I used to play with an Xbox controller through Bluetooth, so it was definitely like a janky setup, but you know it worked.
I feel like most people will kind of use something like that for emulator, at least starting off.
Yeah.
Eventually, you need
Um,
notches, which that does not help with.
I still don't even play SM64 with notches. Like I don't get the notch hype, honestly. But yeah, what can you do? um, Eventually, now that I have like an 18.3x, 18.2x, whatever it was, I believe Simply announced his 16-star invitational, which was thick. There were two divisions. There was Division 1 and Division 2. I think for Division 1 you had to have like a sub 17, and then for Division 2 you needed a sub 20. So I signed up for Division 2. And yeah, I think that was one of my first tournaments. I don't know.
Did
The
you
one I
actually
didn't
play
play
in?
in.
Yeah, did you
I
play in
played
this
in
one?
this one.
Oh,
I
that's
played in
good.
this one.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, my first round match was ridiculous because it was best of 3, I think. So game 1, I ended up winning. Uh, Game 2, I think I ended up losing, and I tried to go for some riskier strats and bits to save time. But I went for triple jump wall kick, and somebody ended up following me as I was walking to ledge, and I did not turn off my alerts.
Oh.
So for the rest of the tournament, just a bunch of alerts taking up my entire stream were just coming up. It was ridiculous. It just did not stop, but it was funny. I did win game 3 even with all the alerts. It was fantastic. So I did win round 1. Round 2, I think I got destroyed, but definitely a fun experience. Would do it again. I think this was like probably mid 2018. So I think in the summer I tried to host my own tournaments. I did a 16-star one, and me and my buddy Evasion did a 70-star one, and I mean they were both completely awful tournaments. Don't get me wrong. I had no TO experience. I I was just winging it basically, but it definitely allowed me to like meet more people, which was cool. But yeah, after those tournaments, I kind of stopped speedrunning SM64 for whatever reason. I ended up getting sub 18 before I stopped, which was cool. And then around the time I stopped speedrunning SM64 was probably around the time Deltarune came out, chapter 1 at least. So I probably played Undertale for the first time around like 2016, and I did want to speedrun that at first, but then I watched tutorials with the punch card. I'm like, what is this? I cannot do this. So
Yeah.
that never happened. But Deltarune came out, and I was like, oh, this speed game is a lot easier. I'm like probably the biggest Deltarune speedrun hater of all time, but it's fine. It's a lot more simple. Like the most difficult thing is just encounter skips. Because like you can see the encounters in the overworld, and you gotta just kind of maneuver past them. But it's definitely a very easy speed game to learn. So when that came out, I got into that. One of the first times I really like grinded a speed game was Deltarune. My first category in Deltarune was True Pacifist, True Reset, which was like probably the least popular category at the time. I just wanted to play it. I'm like, oh, I could do this. I ended up getting world record, which was pretty cool, but 3 people probably ran the category. So I mean,
World record's world record,
it's world record. So I
Yeah.
mean, after that, I played New Game Plus True Pacifist, which is more popular. Basically, New Game Plus just saves 4 minutes of nothing, just a 4-minute cutscene at the start of the run. So
That's
most
fair.
Deltarune runs are just New Game Plus.
Just intro skip
Um,
is all it is.
yeah, pretty much. Um, but yeah, I played regular pacifist, and then finally after that I got into any percent. I think my first run was a 29:59, which is pretty decent for a first run, I would say.
Clutching sub
Um,
30.
yeah, the sub 30 clutch was awesome. Um, I think around this time, a speed gaming Deltarune tournament was announced, and this was obviously a pretty huge tournament because the game just came out. So I don't. There was probably like a good like 30 people at least that were in it, which is cool. So I kept grinding any percent for that. I ended up getting down to probably around like a mid 27. Um, I think the record at the time was probably like 26:30, so not too far off. My first rounds of the tournament were pretty interesting. I remember my first race. I actually I was ahead, and then my game crashed.
Good.
The original version of Deltarune Chapter 1 was terrible in terms of crashes. So on Deltarune, you basically hold X and C or shift and control the entire run. One is a run button and the other is an auto matcher. So um most of the time you would hold X and C. But sometimes if you like press these buttons at the wrong time, your game would just crash. So uh it wasn't great. So I actually ended up crashing on my first race, but my opponent was cool enough to reschedule the race instead of just taking the win. So mad respect for that.
Were there a lot of crashes in that tournament then?
I think that was the only one actually, which was nice.
Interesting. Huh. Seems like a
um
miracle.
I think I think most people played with sticky keys, and that really doesn't happen with sticky keys.
Steve.
At the time, I just kind of manually held X and C, which I don't do anymore. But yeah, at the time, yeah, I don't know why I did that, but oh well, you'll learn. Uh, anyway, I ended up winning that rescheduled race. And then my next race was against Shay. I think this was my introduction to Shay, actually. We're now pretty good friends, but our first time meeting was a Deltarune tournament race, and I got completely destroyed. But it was a double elimination tournament, so uh, I went to losers bracket, and then I kind
Okay.
of had a crazy losers run actually, because I kept
Yeah.
grinding the game. I ended up getting a 26, and I think I eventually got top 3 in Deltarune. I think my time was like 26:40, which was top 3 at the time, so I was pretty pumped about that. So I was able to get a pretty crazy losers run. I don't really remember many of the races, but the most notable one was against Cookie Apocalypse. She was the world record holder for Deltarune at the time, and I ended up stealing the win, which was pretty sick.
Was this tournament
After
seeded in any way?
I think it was, but since the game was so new, it was just like people were PBing so often that the seeds just didn't end up
Yeah,
mattering.
okay. Fair enough.
Um, After that, I ended up losing to I think it was Enzo, who actually PB'd and and beat my time during the tournament. But that's fine. Um, it was pretty sick though. That tournament was really cool. Um, After that, I kind of kept playing Deltarune for a while. I think I improved my time just slightly. I think I got third place back. And then by then, I was just like, okay, I'm pretty good with this time. I think the day before I got that PB, I dreamed about speedrunning Undertale. So
Okay.
after I got that PB, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to speedrun Undertale now.
Hmm.
Uh,
As fate would have
Obviously,
it.
the punch card, very daunting, but now that I was more familiar with like the soul mechanics and like menuing, I'm like, okay, now I just need to learn punch card really, and I could figure this out. Um, so I spent probably like the next week or so learning neutral for Undertale. Actually a pretty easy category to learn. It seems daunting at first, but honestly, like all the punch cards are kind of the same. Uh, you just kind of have to get a feel for all the visual cues and everything. So once you get that, it's pretty easy. Um, Finished my first run. I think it was either late July or early August of 2019. Um, and I ended up getting, what was it? It was like a 111.40 something, which I mean, I don't think it was like a terrible first run time, but um nowadays it's like, yeah, I mean, there's been new stuff found, so I don't know how like a 111 is these days, but uh anyway, I'm gonna skip a bunch of PBs because I mean, I was able to PB like every day for a while until eventually I got down to like the 100s. So my first real grind was like sub hour. Um, I got my first sub hour in a no reset. Actually, it was a no reset to prepare for Undertale's 5th anniversary race. Because that was the same day I got my first sub hour on Undertale's 5th anniversary, which was really cool. Um,
What was the record at that point?
I think it was 5550 by Shay. So, I mean, pretty far off record still, but so I was pretty sick. I think it took me like a month of grinding or so to get that. And then after that, after I got sub hour, I was kind of introduced to like I was invited to an Undertale like private server, so I was starting to like VC with people every time I did runs, and it was pretty fun. Definitely a lot more fun to grind Undertale when you're in a VC with other people grinding. It's just like it's such a like I don't know how to explain it. It's such an exhausting game at times because the first 7 minutes of the run is basically all RNG, which kind of sucks, but it's nice because like after that there's like nothing else. No more RNG pretty much.
Better at the start than the end, maybe.
Yeah,
Depends on who you
definitely.
are, I guess.
uh but yeah, through that server I met my buddy Bradley. And at the time he had I think a low 59. So he was better than me at the game, just a little bit. Um but we were grinding at the same time. So we got better together pretty much. Bradley got his first 58. I got mine not much long after that. Um, I think I ended up beating Bradley's time with a 58:22, something around that. Um, but then Bradley, a few weeks later, he bopped me again with like a 58:07 or something. Uh, so at this point, it was kind of a friendly rivalry. We were kind of racing to get 57. Uh, so probably around like December, we got close enough to start grinding for 57. We would just grind runs and call basically every day, probably multiple sessions a day. Um, on the 31st of December, Bradley ended up breaking through and getting the first 57 out of us. But a week later, I was finally able to get my own 57, so I was pretty sick. Unfortunately, did not get it before 2020, but you know, Bradley's always gonna hold that one against me. What now? Yeah, so after 57, I probably took a little break. But not long after I got back into it, I started really practicing Asgore, which is the final boss of the game. For people who don't know anything about Undertale speedruns, Asgore is by far the hardest part of the run, and it comes at the very end because we use a weapon called the Burnt Pan. To get a perfect hit, you need to hit 4 frame perfect inputs in a row. These are the only frame perfect and pixel perfect things in the game that you really can't buffer. So it's very rough. For a perfect Asgore, which is 9 quads in a row, so 36 frame perfect
Jesus
inputs. You cannot miss a single one. So it's brutal, but I started getting really good at Asgore.
Here,
Each
quick
turn on
question.
Asgore,
What's the FPS of the game?
30. So
Okay.
and there's only 9 patterns, so like I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but it's brutal.
Not easy, but
no, not
it's
at
nice
all.
to have a better idea.
Yeah. I ended up getting really good at Asgore, and since every turn saved on Asgore saves like 10 seconds, I was able to improve my time. Like I went from like a 57.50 to like a 57.20 just in like 1 PB, which was crazy. At the time that was 10th place. So I was pretty hype about top 10. But I knew I could get 56. So I kept playing. I started getting really good paces into Hotland. I think at the time, like world record probably got in Hotland around just under 30 minutes, and I think I was getting like 30-20s. So I was getting really good paces. I knew I was able to get a 56. I just needed to hold it together. But for the life of me, I cannot hold it together. So this grind actually took me a while, probably like 3 months. This was around the time like COVID hit too, so I started having a lot of free time on my hands. I remember talking to my buddies in a VC one day. I'm like, I swear, man, I better get this 56 by the time the pandemic's over.
Well, mission accomplished, I guess.
Mission accomplished.
Maybe not in the way you wanted it. By definition, though.
I think I got my first 56 in like April. So it took a while, but I ended up finally getting it. And I was gonna be happy just leaving it there. I was probably like 7th after that. I was happy with that. I was like, okay, I'm done with Undertale now. What next? And I actually did stop playing the game for a while. See, it was April. So yeah, I stopped playing for about a month. Then one day I wake up and I see everybody speedrunning Undertale for a crazy PB. Like people that were good at the game but nowhere near world record level were putting Undertale for world record in their title. So I was like, huh, what's going on here? So it turns out there was a new 30-second time save called Seagrass Skip that was found by Ocean Bagel. There's just one cutscene at the start of Waterfall. For some reason, when you walk into it, you have, I think it's 5 frames to do whatever you want before the cutscene actually starts. So, Ocean Bagel saw this. He's like, huh, what would happen if I just like open a text box during these 5 frames? So he tried it. Then he closed the text box, regained movement, just skipped an entire cutscene. Bang, new 30-second time save just dropped. So because of that, I was hooked again. Actually, around the same time too, Bradley started trash talking me. He's like, Link, you're just barely hanging on in the top 10, man. Come on. So I started grinding like crazy once Seagrass Skip was found. I think my first PB with it was a 56-19, which is actually a pretty good run because that would have PB'd even without the new skip. But after that, again, hard to PB because, again, just minute barrier mental blocks are crazy for me. I don't know. Probably took a few months of grinding to finally get 55, which I think when I got 55, it was 5th place. So pretty cool. At this point, I pretty much had the world record like when I started speedrunning Undertale, which was really cool.
What was it now?
I don't know. It was probably like a low 55 when I got my first 55, but
Okay.
shortly after, I think it was 54.50.
Okay.
I think I lost like 20 seconds in core in my 55, so I was like, huh. I don't know if it was core or if it was... No, I think it was Asgore, actually. I think my PB before that had a 10-turn Asgore, and that run had a 12-turn, which isn't terrible, but could be a lot better. Especially for how much I practice quads. I'm kind of known as like the quad guy at this point. But yeah, I kept playing. At this point, I started going for like really nonsensical strats at the time. Like, a lot of people were like taking things pretty safe still at this point in the game. But at this point, I was like, yeah, let's just start going for basically everything. So I was able to save some time just because I went for crazy strats. I wasn't able to finish a lot of runs, but I was able to. When I was able to finish a run, I was able to get a good time. So I ended up getting a 55-37, I think, which did not move me up on the leaderboard at all, but that's all right. I think 4th place at the time, which I really wanted to get because 4th place is when we started getting like the SRC icons next to your name. I'm like, oh, I really want that. So the grind for 55 2x was kind of ridiculous. Took a lot longer than it should have, but eventually got a 55-22, which was sick. So I was 4th place now. I think that was in October of 2020. So
Icon
took like 5 months. Yeah, I got the SRC icon. I'm like, yes, green heart. But yeah, it probably took like 5 months once Seagrass Skip was found to get 4th place from there, which was sick. At this point, yeah, record was still 54.50. One day I was doing, I think it was like November, probably 2020. I was doing runs, and my internet went out during it. Kind of sucks. I think my mom, my house is really weird, so like there's a light switch that you could turn off and it just turns off our Wi-Fi, but you know,
fun.
Whatever. Anyway, I think my mom flipped that switch on accident while I was doing attempts one day. This was at the very start of a run, by the way. But anyway, that happened. I'd never local recorded at the time. I'm like, oh, whatever. Let's just see what happens. Ruins is all RNG anyway. I doubt anything's gonna happen. Let's just see what RNG I get. Then I ended up, I think I got one extra encounter than you would normally get. And then 8 hands, which is perfect pretty much. 8 hands on the tutorial fight is fantastic. You can get 9, but each hand only stays around 5 seconds, so 8 hand is absolutely fantastic, especially at this time. So I'm like, okay, well, gotta continue it now. Kept going, you know. Really just wasn't making any mistakes, which is ridiculous. Uh, by the time I was in New Home, which is around like 30, 40 minutes into the run, uh, I was, I think, like, I think I got an 11 turn Asgore in my PB before that, so I was probably around like 14 seconds ahead, which at that point is like crazy. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. I actually took a picture of my splits while I was in New Home. It's the shakiest picture of all time. I wanna find it. It's so funny. Like I just posted it in a server I'm in. I'm like, look what pace I'm on. You can't tell what the pace is at all because the image is so shaky. But I mean, you could have saw the green obviously, so it's like, oh, cool. Shortly after I got into Asgore, I clutched a 10 turn, so I was now 25 seconds ahead of my 55-22. So I typed in the server again. I just typed 54. And then the server started going crazy. My internet was back at this point, but for some reason I just didn't start streaming again. I think I just closed out of OBS. But then I finish out the run. The last split of the run is Flowey, which is basically, I don't want to say it's an auto scroller, but it's the easiest split of the run. There's not a lot to do. So at this point, I was screaming completely. So my mom and my dad just showed up in my room and watched me finish the run. I think I got a 54-56. So that was my first ever 54, and now I was 6 seconds away from the world record. I'm like, there's absolutely no shot. Like,
Well,
at this point, I'm
unfortunately,
like,
no vid, no did. So you didn't actually.
nah, it's so funny because like, I don't know. I never thought I was gonna be able to get on that pace again. The next day, I got on that pace again into Asgore. This time I wasn't so lucky to get a 10 turn. I think I missed the last quad. And I was just tilted at that, so I just reset and didn't finish the run, which was so stupid of me. I still regret that, but what can you do? Anyway, my 54-56 obviously can't be verified, so I was back at it. I was trying to get a recorded 54 now. I think the first time I beat my recorded PB, which was 55-22, was another 55-22. I beat it by like 2 frames, one of those, and like I remember my buddy retiming it, and I was so hyped about it. I'm like, yes, new PB. At the time we didn't even have like milliseconds on the Undertale board, but that run kind of started it. After that, I think I got a 55-11. So that was my new recorded PB. Still nowhere close to a 54. The 54 was just insane for the time. Like I really don't know how that happened. Like that run was like way ahead of my skill level, but anyway, let's fast forward a little bit to like February of 2021. I'm gonna take a quick drink. my buddy Clover made a community sum of best spreadsheet for Undertale. I think it was like February 11th. So I grinded that basically all day. And then I was able to get some pretty sick, like, segmented times. I think I got like everything on the sheet at the time, which was sick. Besides Ruins, because and Snowden, because Ruins is RNG and Snowden was pretty mash heavy, and I've always struggled with mashing fast in Undertale. But besides all that, I basically got every comm sob for like the punch card segments, which was cool. By the end of that night, I was feeling pretty good about my punch card skills. The next day, I wake up and again, the Undertale server is going crazy. I see a ping in the announcements channel. I think it was something about like removing a splash screen from like the game's files. Like, we're thinking about allowing this. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, why are people going crazy about this? And then I scrolled down a little bit with the new Mad Dummy skip that was just found. What? What did I miss? So I go to the strats channel. I just see, oh yeah, Mad Dummy skip. The meme's dead. This saves 2 minutes.
Oh,
So at this point,
okay.
I'm like, who cares about 54? Let's get a 52, baby. Uh, now, Mad Dummy Skip was only possible on the Linux runner. We normally played on the Linux version of the game, but we were still playing on the Windows runner. But Mad Dummy Skip only worked on the Linux runner, so there was kind of like a discussion about like, should we allow the Linux runner on Windows? We ended up allowing it. So by the time that was like legalized, I got my practice in, because I was playing on a patch of the game that made it possible. So by the time it was legalized, I got my Mad Dummy Skip practice in, and I started doing runs. First day, I was not able to finish anything, but Shay got a new world record of 54:08. I mean, it was a good time, but obviously very improvable. It's a trick that saves basically 2 minutes and only saved like 40 seconds on the old world record. The next day, I did 2 sessions, because in the morning, I finally got a recorded 54. I got a 54:26, which was, I think, second place or third place at the time. So I improved my position a little bit. And then later that night, I started attempts again, and I ended up getting the first ever 53. I think it was a 53:56. So that was my first. That was my first world record, at least full game world record. I had Hotland IL world record for a little bit before then, but that was my first like real full game world record for Undertale. So I was super excited about it. Obviously, still not a very good time compared to what we're used to. So Shay was able to beat it later that day. I think it was like a 53:36 or something. Actually took me a decent amount of time to get close to that one. Again, it was just kind of mental blocked, so it was kind of rough for a little bit, but I actually did get a run that was ahead of Shay's record into Flowey. And I know I just said a little bit earlier that Flowey is kind of an auto scroller. Boy, I missed the last reload on Flowey, and because of that, I missed out on record by like 2 seconds. Whatever. I was so mad, but it's all right. A few days later, I got on a fantastic pace. I think my time into New Home was like 35 1x, which at the time was crazy. Probably 52 pace. Got a decent new home, I think, but going into Asgore, I was so nervous. Like the run was crazy. I had no clue like when I was gonna get on this pace again. I think I got an 11 turn Asgore. So I got a 53-17. So that was like the first time we're like, okay, the run's kind of like optimized now. I said Mad Dummy Skip saved like 2 minutes. It's probably closer to like 145. So we were getting closer. That was like a very low 55 without it. So Shay ended up beating that around like a month or so later by 1 second with a 53-16. After that, I started grinding again. I think the next day I went live on my alt account in the morning, just no mic, serious attempts. I ended up getting a 53-11. My keyboard double input on Asgore, so it was almost a tragedy, but I ended up clutching the 10 turn anyway. So I got a 53-11, which was sick. The next day, I think I got a 53-08, and this run was pretty good, but had a very had a very glaring mistake in waterfall. I think I mismenued a flea, which like never happens, so it's kind of crazy. I think without that, it would have been the first 52, but we ball. We keep grinding for the 52, and of course, since it's a minute barrier, especially since it would be the first ever 52, I again went into a crazy mental block. Took me months and months. Eventually, in like May of 2021, Samuel JH, who kind of was taking a hiatus from the game, but they were crazy at the game. They came out of nowhere. They went from their old PB, which was I think 54-52 without Mad Dummy Skip, into a 52-58. So they actually sniped the first 52, and I think it was with an 11 turn Asgore. So, not even like a crazy Asgore either. So, absolutely crazy run. But with that, my mental block was kind of like, okay, well, I don't have to worry about being the first to get 52 now. So it definitely took a lot of pressure off me, and I was eventually able to get my first 52. I think it was a 52-59 actually. It was probably one of my better pop-offs. Wasn't record, but 1 second off, and it was my first 52 after a while of grinding, so it's pretty sick. I think the next day I started up runs again. For some reason, I have like a crazy pattern of just getting record the next day. Like I just have like a 2-day stretch of like playing good. Next day I did even better. I got a 52-55, which was world record finally. So that was pretty cool. I got a 10 turn Asgore though. The old record got an 11 turn, so obviously we knew there was room for improvement. But I was pretty happy with that time, so again, I took some time off. That's probably like late March or late May. And then I started back up again probably around late June. So I'm just gonna skip kind of the time between then. At this point, Undertale basically became my life at this point. Like,
it wasn't already.
I'm kind of ashamed to like talk about it, but like every day I was in school, I couldn't help but think to myself, oh, if I get this pace into Hotland, and then if I get this Hotland, and then if I get a perfect Asgore, I could get like a 52-3x, man. Like, oh, that would be such a crazy run. Like that would be all I could think about. It's kind of ridiculous, but I've gotten better at not caring so much, but I was still young at the time. I think I was 15, so like I was stupid and I was just like in love with Undertale speedrunning. But anyway, um late June, I was finally on my summer break, so I started playing more seriously again. Um I think my first day was kind of just a D-rust. And then on my second day back, I got on a pace. Uh, Pretty good pace. I was probably like 5 seconds ahead into Hotland, and I kind of kept that pace going into core. Um, and then in core, I made a pretty big mistake. I missed Alpha's elevator skip, which is like 6, 7-ish seconds. So I was a little bit behind. Um, it was probably like a 35 1x into New Home again. So um, I think it was like 35 0x. So pretty good. Um, Kind of sucked though, because kind of that missing that just kind of killed the first 34. But what can you do? Um, Still a very good run. Got a good New Home. Um, so I was able to at that point I was probably still like 10 seconds ahead, which was kind of crazy just because of the New Home. Um I think yeah, I was probably like 7-ish seconds ahead into Asgore. My PB got a 10 turn. So yeah, I was probably like on pace with Sam's run into Asgore. But I did not get an 11 turn. As a matter of fact, I didn't even get a 10 turn. I ended up getting a perfect Tazgore 9 quads in a row to finish it off. Absolutely fantastic. That's probably the run I'm still most proud of. Um, the pop off after Asgore is probably like my absolute favorite pop off of mine. I'm never gonna forget that run. That run was so far ahead of its time. Absolutely fantastic. Besides that one mistake in core, it ended up being a 52-38. Um, so that was kind of the run I was imagining through the entire school year. So I was absolutely stoked about it. At that point, I'm like, okay, I have no chance of beating this. This category is completely dead. So I moved on to other categories, really for the first time. I kind of played a few categories here and there, but I never took them seriously. But after I got that, after I got the 52-38, I'm like, okay, well, let's just go to other categories. So I went to pacifist next, which is pretty similar to neutral. The first hour is pretty much the same, and then there's like 30 minutes or so of extra content at the end. It's definitely more of a mash heavy category, so I definitely struggled at times with mashing, but you know, I was able to make it work. Speaking of calling categories dead, Shay had the world record at the time for True Pacifist. I think it was 122, like 2x or something. And Shay was like, "Oh, farewell, True Pacifist. This category's done." um, but I finally got my hands on it. My first few runs didn't go great. I think I got a 123.59, which is very far off, and then like a 120. I finally got a 122. It didn't really take long for me though. I ended up getting a 122.15, which I was completely shocked because Shay was so much better than me at mashing, and like I thought the category was pretty optimized at that point. But it's like, okay, well, I guess I just guess I just did it.
On to the next.
Uh yeah. Uh did I grind for I don't think I grinded for 121 yet. Yeah, at that point I was just like, okay, cool, I got that one. Let's move on. At that point I had 2 out of 5. So, at this point I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I could try to get record sweep. That'd be cool. Um Next up was genocide. This category sucks. Absolutely, I cannot stand it. I was saying earlier how it's so nice that all of Undertale's RNG is just in ruins.
Not anymore.
Undertale Genocide is just a complete lottery. It's a lottery, but if you had to hit a bunch of frame perfects at the end, it's like winning the jackpot, and then no, you can't have the money yet. You have to hit 18 frame perfects. Oh, what can you do? It actually didn't take me too long though. I got a 104 pretty fast. I think record at the time was like 104.24. So I got 104 pretty fast. And then I actually got a crazy ruins for once, which was awesome. Because of that, I was a minute ahead. All of a sudden, I'm on 103 pace. Obviously, with Geno, that lead's never gonna last. I had got a pretty bad Snowden, I think, so I was only like, or I got a pretty bad like Snowden and Waterfall, so I was probably like 20 seconds ahead of my PB after those. It's actually really funny though because I ended up getting Gaster Hallway in that run. I think this is still like the only record with Gaster Hallway, which was really funny. As a matter of fact, it's kind of like a running meme in like the entire Undertale community now because I said, "Who's ready for Gaster?" and then he just showed up. So,
And it's like what, 1 in 100 or something?
yes,
Yeah.
getting the hallway is a 1 in 100 chance just on any given attempt. So,
And do you throw away time to talk to him?
So the hallway is 1 in 100, and then getting the door in the hallway is another 1 in 10 chance.
Oh, that's
so I did
what
not
it
get
is.
I did not get the door, unfortunately, but I did get the hallway.
Okay,
So I didn't end up talking to him, but
getting the hallway just make you lose time for fun then?
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
If you're fast enough to react, you could like walk out and walk back in, and then the hallway is gone. It's a little bit faster than just walking through the hallway, but I didn't react fast enough. But what can you do? Anyway, yeah, it was like 20 seconds ahead, so still on record pace. Going into core. Core is like the most skillful part of a Geno run. You have to hit quads, but it's still very RNG heavy. Your quads can be as little as 4. You can only, or like your mandatory quads can be as little as 4, but it could be as high as like like 25. So it's kind of ridiculous. But I got decent enough RNG. Sands at this point is like free for speedrunners, so didn't have to really worry about Sands.
Easy fight.
I think I ended up beating the record by 1 second. I don't know exactly what record was at the time, but I think I beat it by a second. So at that point, I had the big 3. I had Neutral, Pacifist, and Geno, and the 2 that were left was Neutral, Glitchless, and Pacifist, Glitchless. Next up, I went for Neutral, Glitchless. I also hate Neutral, Glitchless. It's like Geno, but without core, so it's a little bit more bearable in my opinion. But it's still terrible. Didn't take me too long though. I think I got it in like 2 or 3 days of grinding. I think I beat that one by 4 seconds. I think record was 103.38. I got a 103.34. So we take those. After that, I was at 4 out of 5, so obviously I had to go for the record sweep at this point. Next was Pacifist Glitchless. This category is absolutely abysmal because really the only 2 categories I like are Neutral and Pacifist. I don't know if you've gotten this by now, but
I think I've gotten the point.
And Neutral and Pacifist are so good because of the punch card, and then these 3 categories just don't have punch card at all, which kind of sucks. But honestly, TV Glitchless isn't like the worst category ever. It's just very mash heavy. and Shay is by far the best at mashing. So I was like, this one's gonna be terrible. I think record at the time was 147. What was right? I'm gonna look this one up actually because I'm curious.
The integrity is on the line here.
This one was filters obsolete. This one was 147.34. Okay. Yeah, 137 or 147.34. So that one was pretty rough. I thought it was gonna be pretty tough to beat, and it was very tough to beat. As a matter of fact, I kind of crashed out on stream a few times going for it, but that's all right. I ended up getting a 147, but was still pretty far off of the time that I was trying to get, which was sub 147.34. I ended up just again randomly just decided to do runs on a whim. I just started doing runs on a private VC. I wasn't even talking to people or anything. I was completely deaf, and I'm just like, hey, I'm playing TPEG in VC if you want to watch. I don't know why I did that, but whatever. I got a crazy ruins, so I was ahead of record.
This is when it starts.
Absolutely. I got a pretty good Snowden, pretty much everything up to Asgore. Now, in the pacifist categories for Asgore, before you start attacking with the burnt pan, you end up eating the pie because that lowers his defense and it allows you to do one less quad. So I ate the pie on the first turn. And then on the second turn, I forgot that I was still on the item in the menu. So I ended up using another item instead of hitting a quad. So I just lost a turn for no reason there completely. So I had to start locking in. I hit the first 8 quads in a row. So I almost saved it, but I missed the last quad. So I ended up losing 10 seconds there. Unfortunate. Still probably around like 10 seconds ahead of record at this point. But at this point, the neutral part of the run was done, and we were into the pacifist part. And the pacifist part of the run have the date segments, which is very RNG heavy, or not RNG heavy, sorry, very mash heavy. So I was gonna lose time here. Absolutely no doubt about it. By the end of the dates, I was pretty much even with Shay. But I got a decent end game, and I ended up getting a 147.34. So I ended up actually tying Shay's time. And after a retime, it was so unbelievably close. I think I beat Shay by a frame.
In a hour 47 minute
ridiculous.
run.
I think I beat Shay by a frame. So I took it. I was like, yep, that's record, sweet baby. We didn't have milliseconds on the board, so we just counted it as a tied record, but it was like, yeah, that's record, sweet, good enough.
I mean, literally still counts, so.
Yep. So after that,
never played the game again.
No, that was like July 2021. To be honest, I have no clue what I actually do know what I was doing, kind of. I have no clue what I was doing from July to like December. I was probably speedrunning like Mario 64 or something. I don't know. But anyway, back around December, I got back into Undertale. GSA was hosting a speedrunning marathon at a Smash tournament, fighting game tournament in general. It was Glitch Infinite. Is that Xanadu?
Beautiful Laurel, Maryland.
I love that venue. Unfortunately, the location isn't the greatest, but
is it not?
It's kind of just the middle of nowhere, but you know, the venue was sick.
Yeah.
Um,
Venue
but
is
yeah,
sick.
I submitted Pacifist to that, and to my surprise, I got accepted. So I started grinding Pacifist again in preparation.
That was gonna be
Um,
the first live event, right?
yes, that was my first in-person event I've ever been to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which was really cool. So I started grinding Pacifist to prepare for that. I ended up getting the first 121, 121.54, which was sick. Um, I also got like a new mic and stuff for Christmas, so like I was big into like the the
Professional now.
streaming arc,
Yeah.
yeah. um, that was pretty cool. Ended up going to Glitch. I don't even remember what time I got. I think I got a 124, which I mean, Undertale is really hard to play on like foreign setups, so I'll take a 124. It was such a cool event though. I was only there for really, so my run was at like 12 a.m. So I got there at like 10 p.m. on that day. So I did my run. It was like 2 a.m. by the time I finished. I went straight to bed. I woke up the next day, pretty much spent the whole day there, and then I left the next day. So I wasn't there very long, but it was such a cool experience just to see so many people that like I've known online for so long. I didn't really meet like any Undertale speedrunning people, but I met like multi Mario people. I met Cheese. It was just really cool. Um, while I was there, actually, Shay ended up beating my Geno record, which kind of sucked. So I think I came back and started grinding Geno again. Don't remember how long it took, but I ended up getting the first 103. Ended up being a 103.49, so actually got it by quite a large amount. Um, by that time is by the time I finished my Geno grind, it was probably around like April of 2022. So I was like, all right, well, I've probably taken a long enough break from neutral. Might as well get back into it. So I did. After after a good amount of grinding, I was able to get to a. I was finally able to beat the time. I got a 52:32. That's probably around like May, so that record stood for like 11 months, which was crazy at the time. It was like my longest standing record. Like I couldn't believe it. 52:32 was pretty good though. I think after that I took another pretty big break from neutral. Just kind of improved my other times. I got a 121 3x in pacifist. Um I didn't really improve my neutral glitchless or TPEG times. Shay beat my TPEG time pretty soon after, but it's not really my favorite category, so I didn't grind it too much. But yeah, probably around this time, Willie J, which is kind of like they're kind of like a more technical person, like in the Undertale community. I wouldn't say a tasser, but like they know a lot about the game, and they ended up doing a lot of like community ran events, which was cool. So they ended up hosting a Undertale fixed seed genocide tournament, which was such a cool concept because normally in Geno you really just see a bunch of RNG, but you don't really see like why top runners are like so much better than everyone else. Um, this tournament kind of allowed us to see that. There was kind of a qualifier event before the actual tournament started, just to kind of get seeding. Um, so we all played on the same seed. I ended up getting like a low 104, which was really good. So that got me the 1 seed. I think first up was a group stage. So I ended up winning every game in my group, which was cool. So I had the 1 seed going into the main bracket now. Main bracket was really cool. I think I played against Ash Mikda, who is a crazy Deltarune speedrunner, and ended up playing against KJ Endurance, who didn't really play Geno a lot at the time, but was probably the third best neutral runner at the time. So that was a pretty scary race for me. I actually ended up missing Seagrass Skip in the race, so I was behind going into core, but I was able to clutch up and take the win anyway. So I moved on to winners finals where I met Shay. This race was crazy hyped up. This was like our first time racing each other since the Deltarune tournament in 2018. So I think this was our first time like racing Undertale. I think Shay took game 1 and it was a best of 3. So Shay took game 1 and then I took game 2. Game 3 was really close. I mean, all these races were really close just because like we're so similar in skill, and since we're getting the same RNG, it's like okay, you know, it's pretty even going into core. I ended up taking a lead in core. I'm not really sure how, but I kept that lead the entire way and ended up winning to move on to grand finals on winner's side, which was really cool. That race was so awesome. Shay and I keep submitting Fixie Geno to GDQ because it's such a cinema race, and we always submit that tournament VOD because it's just so good. But yeah, after that, Shay won their losers finals game, so we had a rematch in grands. This time around, I was just kind of locked in. I think I won 2-0, so I ended up winning the tournament, which was really sick. I think that was my first and really only time winning a speedrunning tournament, which was sick. After that, what time? This is probably like late 2022 now, so I don't know what. I probably just played neutral again. At this point, I was just going for like a 52 2x now. I think there was a new small time save found. It's called, well, we kind of knew about it already. Basically, there's a encounter in Snowden, a mini boss in Snowden, where you could walk into it. If you get an encounter when you walk into it, then you could just flee the encounter and then just completely skip the mini boss, which was pretty sick. Unfortunately, that was just a 1 in 30 chance to happen, even with a setup. So nobody really went for it. But somebody made a tool that can kind of. There's snowballs in the room, and the snowballs kind of tell you like the RNG. So somebody made a tool. You can just kind of click on the snowballs and you could kind of get a setup for it to get it 100% of the time. It's so nice. So it saved around like 10 seconds compared to just doing the boss. So ended up grinding. I got a lower 52-32, and eventually I think I got a 52-20, 23 or 22 or something. Not long after that, I was able to beat it again by a second. I wasn't too happy about it though, because going into Flowey, I was on 52 1x pace, and then I kind of choked Flowey, but what can you do? At this point, 51 was getting more realistic, but it's still like, I mean, probably not happening, you know? But I think I did get a 10-turn Asgore that run, which, I mean, is good, but at this point in the game's lifespan, it's like, okay, well, 10-turn isn't even, like, good for world record anymore. So I ended up getting a Asgore on pretty much the same pace. So I was on 52 OX pace all of a sudden going into Flowey. Again, I choked Flowey, so I got a 52-11, but still, 52-11. That run kind of proved that 51 was possible. So at that point, I kind of just put all my focus into grinding for 51. Willie was hosting a Undertale Neutral LTA, which is kind of like a break the record style event for the game's anniversary. So I started grinding pretty seriously for that. I really wanted to get a 51 at the event. Unfortunately, I didn't. I think I won, but I only got like a 52-20 something. So not amazing, but not terrible. But anyway, record stayed at 52-11 for a while. I think we're in like 2023 now. I'm kind of losing track. But late 2023, December 2023, some random person just joins the server, just posts a video in the Strats channel, just like, hey, I'm just experimenting with this thing on runes. I just got this wrong warp here, but I ended up soft locking. Can something be done about this? And a few minutes later, somebody was like, "Yeah, this is a real strat. You can do this without soft locking, and this saves 30 seconds." So it's always crazy because every single Undertale speedrunning skip is found at like 5 in the morning. So I'll just wake up and I'll just be bewildered by a crazy new strat just out of left field. So at this point we're like, oh, 30 seconds. Well, let's get 51. And it took a while. The 52-11 lasted a decent while, actually. I think I got a 52-10, but not a great run. It just kind of goes to show how good the 52-11 was. It's just like it was so hard to beat, even though there was such a big time save. I kind of took a break for a while after the 52-10, even though we're just right there for 51. As a matter of fact, I didn't even take a break. Since this is 2023 by now, at this point, AGDQ was announced to be in Pittsburgh, and I'm from Ohio, so that's like a 2-hour drive from me. I'm like, okay, I'm submitting Undertale. At this point, I just turned 18 too, so this was my first time I was even able to submit to GDQ. I was like, yeah, I'm submitting a bunch of Undertale categories to this. So I submitted Neutral, Pacifist, a Fixie Geno race with Shay, and a T-Peg race with Shay. I think I submitted something else, but not really sure what it was. Anyway, the run that ended up getting accepted was T-Peg with me and Shay. I'm not really a big fan, like I said, I'm not really a big fan of T-Peg. It's just mash heavy. But I started grinding that. I got actually pretty close to record in that. Not quite, but it was close. I think I missed it by 2 seconds, but that's all right. Just kind of preparing for GDQ at that point. By the time January rolled around, it was time for the run. This was my first GDQ, obviously, so I was absolutely terrified, but the run ended up going well for the most part. I think I got like a 148 or so, which isn't bad. Yeah, GDQ was just such a cool experience. Like, that was my first time meeting most of my Undertale buddies in real life, so it was just like kind of a surreal experience, especially since I was like introduced to speedrunning through GDQ. It was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually here. And I was making fun of people clapping at video games, but there I
Now
was.
they're clapping for you.
Now they're clapping for me. Absolutely crazy experience. At that point, yeah, I was just completely hooked to speedrunning events. Now I just try to go whenever I can. But anyway, coming back from GDQ, it's time to settle down, get back into neutral for 51. The 5210 is still the record at this point, just because it was crazy. I think my fifth at the time before the new skip was found, I was probably like 30 seconds ahead of everybody else, which was insane. But anyway, people started to catch up, so I'm like, yeah, it's time to get this 51. I started a D-Rush stream, went pretty well. I think I got like a 52 2x, which isn't bad. Let's see. I'm trying to think of exactly how it happened. I don't know how long it took, but I do remember getting the 51. Oh no, before that, the same stream actually, I got on 51 pace into New Home by a decent amount, and then all of a sudden my keyboard just stopped working. Frisk stopped walking. I'm like, what is going on? I probably lost like 6-7 seconds to standing still. Really unfortunate scenario there, but I ended up finishing the run, and I don't even know what it was. It was either 5201 or 5204. Unfortunately, that run's kind of lost to time, but I'll never forget it. I was so mad about it. I'm like, yeah, we're running it back, dude. I can't believe I just lost 51 just because I'd stopped moving for no reason.
Like the keyboard
so I ran it back.
Disconnect or
I don't know if it disconnected. I might have just like tabbed out of the game on accident or something. I just couldn't figure it out. But it was so strange. I was so mad. I ran it back. Ended up getting on pace pretty much the very next run. This time around, I was probably even going into New Home or so. Maybe a little bit ahead. But this time I got the time save from not standing still. So that was a plus. And then I got a 10 turn, or no, actually, this run was absolutely insane. I completely forgot about this. This run was actually ridiculous. I was so far ahead, and then I got the New Home time save too. If I got a Tazgore, I was on pace for a 51 3x. Like, it wasn't even close. I went into Asgore. I was ridiculously nervous, so I ended up getting an 11 turn. Nobody expected the first 51 to be an 11 turn, but here we are. I got a 51-54 with an 11 turn. Pretty cool. Unfortunately, my internet was going absolutely crazy this run, so yeah, unfortunately, it looks absolutely terrible.
no local
the local recording the local recording wasn't much better. They were still able to verify the run just because like audio was included throughout. There was no frame drops or anything. It was just the bitrate was terrible. It was like a Liam SM64 record, basically, is the best way I could put it.
Classic.
So that left a pretty sour taste in my mouth. So not long after, I started doing more runs, and then ended up getting the current record that is still today. This run was nowhere near as good as the 51-54 either, which sucks. I think I was 14 seconds behind going into Asgore, but since that run had an 11 turn, I got a Tazgore, and I pulled ahead. So, current record for neutral 51-49. That's where it stands today.
Thanks for
It's been standing for over a year. At this point, It's been a year and like 5 or so months, which is kind of crazy. That's absolutely not where it's gonna stay. There's somebody Tetris bit is right behind me. That they are so much better at the game than I am at this point. I'm so excited to see what they do to the game, but absolutely ridiculous. I would love to get a 51 3x at least before I stop playing this game. But unfortunately, I've always struggled with mashing, like I said, but now it's ridiculous. Like, I can't mash at all. I don't know what happened. It's probably just like a mental thing at this point, but I can't mash fast at all. So at this point, I'm kind of just taking a crazy long break from Undertale, hoping somehow my mashing gets fixed somewhere down the line. I would love to get a 51 3x eventually, maybe even a 51 2x. That'd be sick. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Undertale. It's not where I stopped speedrunning, obviously. I still speedrun a lot. I went back to SM64 for a little bit. Ended up getting like a 51 and 70 star, which is pretty good.
Jesus.
And I think I got like a mid 16 and 16 star, so not bad. I also went to SGDQ later that year. That was absolutely fantastic. SGDQ 2024 was absolute cinema. Like, everyone in the Undertale community was there pretty much, and you know, there was a certain arcade game that is absolutely beautiful. Deathball,
We love
absolutely
our death
fantastic.
ball.
I love it.
Meme of the
But
century.
yeah, Undertale Yellow came out too, so I did runs of that. There was an LTA hosted for that, which was really cool. I didn't get like record or anything in that, but it's a pretty fun game actually. It has something called Bag Glitch, which is really cool. It's kind of like the game's version of a punch card, so it's kind of similar in that sense. Unfortunately, there's a lot of cutscenes in the game, but it's still a cool speed game. If you like Undertale speedruns, I would definitely check it out. Besides that, my last like real grind has been Celeste. Celeste is such a good speed game. I've completely fallen in love with it. Me and Jack, who is currently second place in Undertale Neutral, just kind of got on the Celeste grind in late 2020 or in like early 2024 probably. Jack got so good at Celeste so fast. He got like a 27 in any percent in probably like a month of playing, which was kind of crazy. I, on the other hand, I took a lot longer to improve. I took a while to just learn everything. Like, Jack learned everything in like a week, but I, on the other hand, probably took like a month to just learn everything in the game. But after that, I finally got sub 30. Eventually sub 29, which was cool. I kind of stopped there for a while. But recently, in the past few months, I picked Celeste back up again, and I had a lot of fun with it. I'm trying to think. I got a mid 28 not long after starting to grind again. And I really wanted to get 27. I really wanted to beat Jack too. But I got on a pretty good. It wasn't like a great run actually, but I got a very good summit for my standards. I was only like 1 second behind my ILPB, which was really nice for an 8-minute chapter. So I'll take it. And I ended up clutching out a 27. I got a 27.59. It was like 0.92, so it was ridiculously close. But That was probably like the most hype I've been about a speedrunning PB in so long. I just barely getting that 27 was awesome. I don't know if I'm gonna keep grinding Celeste. I would like to, but it's just such a hard speed game. Like I'm running out of places to save time, so who knows? Um, I absolutely before I like stop speedrunning, I would love to get a glitched Undertale category into GDQ. Um, I would love to get a 120 in the True Pacifist, because record now is 121.08, and I feel like with just a little bit of grinding, I could get a 120. Um, I would love to fix my mashing so I could go for a better neutral time. But besides that, that's pretty much my entire speedrunning journey.
There is one game I didn't hear much about though.
Yeah, what game?
Well, it's me asking. What do you think?
Oh, SMB1.
Mm.
Yeah, so after this I'll talk about SMB1 actually. I probably first played it like 2020-ish. I was terrible. I mean, I got like a 524 or something. Eventually got like a 505, but I just kind of stopped there for a while. I'm like, the run wasn't great, but I don't know. I didn't really want to grind for sub 5. But AGDQ 2025, there was that SMB1 setup. Like there's SMB1 setups. I don't know how to explain it, but
Yeah,
there were
there.
just a bunch of SMB1 setups, and me and my buddy Aces just kind of went to it, and I don't know. I don't know what was about it, but like it just kind of rekindled the SMB1 spark for me. I was just like, when I
So
came back from GDQ, I wanted to play it again.
it was our like race tech, right? That we showed off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because yeah, he
That's
had that
so
as.
sick.
I say we like I did help set it up a little bit, but like it's not my tech. I can't claim it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad so many people tried it out in the practice room.
Yeah, it was such cool tech, honestly.
I mean, not even a month ago, we had our huge tournament using it for like a 3-day tournament. Oh my god, if it could be like
Oh, that.
done for more games, like
Yeah, I
that could be
mean,
the future of like
yeah,
competitive
it would be
speedrunning, dude.
awesome.
It can do like LTA stuff too and get like accurate to the frame counts in real
That'd be
time.
so cool.
Uh, it's the
Oh
best.
man. Yeah, I mean, SMB1 just seems like such a cool speed game in general.
It's good for like competition because there's so many high level players now, and runs usually finish not even a second sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see that because it's everything is so close with that game. Even like just there's gonna be like so many people just tied into 8-4, which is awesome.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, after GDQ, I was just like, yeah, I kind of want to play this again. So I kind of just pulled up SMB1 on my emulator. And I was like, yeah, let's play a little bit. Wasn't really taking anything seriously. Um, but then all of a sudden, like, I was playing pretty good. Like, 4-2 was probably my worst level, but like I was getting pretty consistently past 4-2. So I'm like, oh, okay. And yeah, I completely skipped like everything. I went from 505 to just 458, which is crazy. Um, but that was really fun. It really was not a long grind at all, but I ended up getting that 458. I tried to do a few attempts with bullet bill glitch, but uh, that didn't really last too long. Bullet bill glitch is hard.
Come on, it's only one frame perfect. You need to do like
It's just
40 of them plus whatever.
it's just one, but
Just
yeah.
one. 60 FPS, but
60 FPS, yeah. Um I did try to do one frame wall jump too, but yeah.
See, that's two.
Never really got that.
That's 2 frame perfect.
But yeah, maybe I'll try to go get a 457 one of these days. I do like SMB1 a lot as a speed game.
Huge.
Unfortunately, since I haven't been like very good at mashing, I really haven't been able to get like a ton of Undertale PBs lately. But one thing I have been able to do is get quad streak PBs. There's an Undertale practice mod that just kind of allows you to grind quads with just like no breaks in between. So I ended up in November of 2024, I ended up getting a quad streak PB of 73, which is how many frame perfects? 219 in a row. So we take those.
The fuck?
Oh wait, no, that's 219 times. I did 219 times 4. 219 292, excuse me.
Okay.
Obviously on 30 FPS, but
yeah. Easy.
It's pretty sick. I would love to get a 100 streak one of these days, but who knows?
I should try to hit like 302 frame wall jumps in a row, because that's like that's a 30 FPS, like a 2 frame 60 FPS 30 FPS.
I think you could do that.
Probably.
Honestly,
but that's not easy at all.
No, it's not easy at all, especially like once you get a streak going, you start to get nervous. It's really nice to like it's good to get practice on like nervous quads. You don't really get that much unless you're on like a high streak or like you're in a run. So
Wild. So were there any other games in there somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, there were small grinds, like there's Refunked. Refunk's a great speed game. Just kind of one I just grind here and there. It's not really one I take too seriously, but absolutely fantastic speed game. I also dabbled in like SMO for a little bit. Never really got a great time. Let's see. Besides that, yeah, not really much else. I mean, there's like a few like really unknown games. Like last summer, me and my friends found this game Dadish 3D, and we grinded ILs for that for a little bit. It's pretty fun. It kind of has like fake BLJs, I guess is like the best way to describe it. It's pretty fun. Besides that, not too much else. Like the last one I could think of is like Mario 64 co-op. And that's not really something I do seriously. It's just something me and a couple Undertale friends do just to pass the time. But we have the 120-star 3-player non-stop record, so that's something.
Yeah, sure is a lot of words.
you gotta love the categories with a lot of words. That's when you know that's a that's a competitive category. Actually, Deltarune categories are kind of crazy. Like I can't even keep up with all of them anymore. Like they have so many categories.
Yeah, when you switched to Undertale, did you just stop with Deltarune, or has like the new release put it back?
So when Chapter 2 came out, I played that some more. I was actually pretty good at Chapter 2 when it first came out. I got like I think my time was like a 51-25, which was pretty good at the time. Then Toby added intro skip to Chapter 2 for speedrunners, which saved 4 minutes. That's when I kind of stopped playing. I don't really know why, but that was kind of when I stopped playing Deltarune Chapter 2. Once Chapter 3 and 4 came out, which was like a month ago at this point, I did the first Chapter 3 and 4 run. I did a Chapter 3 run and I did a Chapter 4 run. I didn't do them combined, but Chapter 3 seems like a pretty rough speed game in all honesty. Like a lot of people are running it actually, which is cool, but I don't know, it just seems like a lot of cutscenes. It's definitely very different from like the traditional Deltarune run. Chapter 4 on the other hand looks pretty cool. Seems like a pretty difficult run though. In Undertale, you could do wrong warps with the punch card. In Deltarune, on the other hand, you just kind of do wrong warps by just. I don't even know how to explain Deltarune wrong warps, but basically, if you miss a wrong warp in Deltarune, you can't wrong warp anymore. You kind of have to chain them together, which is ridiculous. So, uh, Deltarune Chapter 2 and Chapter 4 both have that, and that's pretty brutal. So seems like a tough speed game in all honesty, but
Gave it a try
I
at
don't know.
least.
Yeah. Um I did improve my chapter 1 time a little bit somewhere down the road. Don't know exactly when, but I ended up getting a 26:10, which is a pretty decent time. At this point, it's 18th place on the Deltarune leaderboard. So I peaked at 3rd, but I'm now 18th. So people have gotten very good at this game. Record is now 25:47. So pretty sick. Maybe one day I'll come back for 25 in Chapter 1. I do like Chapter 1 as a speed game. So maybe one day. Besides that, I don't really know what else to add.
The full history has been uttered.
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole history. Um, I mean, there were like a few Undertale tournaments that I didn't really go into. There was a Hotland ILLTA, which was really cool. That kind of pushed the optimization of the game even further at that point. Um, at the time, I was able to get the first 7 1x Hotland, which was really sick. Ended up getting a 715, which I thought would be unbeatable. At this point, Tetris Bit has gotten a 708, which is ridiculous. I don't even know how that's possible, but um, yeah. So I'm really excited for Undertale's future. Like it's gonna be ridiculous. We're gonna need some insane stuff to be found to see like a 50 at any point, but um, it can definitely be improved a bit. I mean my time before the latest time save was found was what 52:11. So yeah, I mean that run probably still beats the current world record and now with the new skip. So it's definitely got a lot of room for improvement, and I'm excited to see where that goes.
All right. Well, so we've covered everything.
I think so. I can't really think of much else.
Fair enough. Well, I know you kind of talked about it already, but just future plans for anything
Yeah,
related to the scene.
future plans, figure out how to mash again.
Yeah.
I really want, because like a lot of new people have joined the Undertale community in the past year, and I don't know, I feel like I haven't really been able to show like why I have such good times. So I kind of want to get back to that level again. I want to get a 51 3x so badly. I want a 120 in pacifist so badly. At this point, Geno world record's a 103.17, so we're looking at 102 for this 102 possibility for Geno at this point. I don't know if I want to get that, but it's a possibility.
And any
Um,
games you haven't run yet on your radar?
ooh. A Link to the Past always seemed like a really cool speed run, honestly. Um, I would love to learn that. It's especially like playing randomizers and stuff. That just seems like it'd be really fun. Um, and I mean, one more thing I would want to do in Undertale before I completely retired. There's a category called True 100%. It's ridiculous. Um, Most people only know about like the 3 major endings of Undertale, but there are actually 93 different endings in Undertale. Um, so True
Oh.
100% does all 93 endings, fights all the bosses, gets all the items, goes in all the rooms, and world record is 26 hours. So I would love to do that
Uh,
before I completely stopped
sub
speedrunning
day?
Undertale. I don't know if sub day's ever gonna happen, but maybe.
Oh my god.
That would probably be like the last thing I ever do in speedrunning. I really don't think, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever like quit speedrunning though. It's just it always, whenever I think I'm done, it always reels me back in. So
Mm,
who
a
knows?
common problem I've heard.
Yeah.
Right. Well, GG, I guess. Sounds like we did it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just like to thank you for having me. This was so sick.
No problem. I like when I don't have to do anything and just listen for an hour. Makes my life easy, and now I have all my episodes ready to release properly while I'm gone at SGDQ. Which, if you're seeing
Yes.
this on YouTube, it just ended. Rest in peace. But, hopefully you watched it. Hopefully
Make sure
everyone
to watch the
enjoyed.
Death Ball tournament when it comes out. Your
It
boy's
already
gonna be in it.
it already happened when this comes out on YouTube, but the Twitch viewers, is it gonna be streamed?
I don't think it's gonna be streamed, but it's gonna be recorded and then like uploaded.
Interesting. Okay.
I think it's like
Alright.
one of those like practice room stages.
Death Ball is coming. I'm ready.
Death Ball.
Death Ball,
I gotta
baby.
predict it. I gotta predict it before it happens. The Death Ball tournament is, by the time we're recording this, it's next Tuesday. It's Wednesday as we're recording this. I gotta predict my results. I'm gonna win it all. First place. Calling it now, baby.
Well, when this is uploaded, you can call back and either see how dumb you look or called it, I guess. But
I can't wait to include this in my GDQ vlog and then just and then just show like a picture of like 20th.
oh, I do remember the meme where it was like, "What place are you gonna get
What
number
place you
one?"
get?
And then it cuts to like not number one.
I love it. I love those videos so much.
Uh, Death Ball, baby. What better
Death
place to end
Ball.
it?
Absolutely. It's all full circle.
All
I
things
think the
lead to
first
Death
time
Ball.
I think the first one of the first times we talked to each other was at SGDQ and it was about Death Ball. I think he just came
Probably.
up to us and was just like Death Ball.
It's
So,
sick, man. It's a good game.
it absolutely is.
It's like 2D Rocket League with force fields. I don't know.
Yeah, it's awesome. You guys gotta check out
Banger.
Death Ball.
Banger video game. All right. Well, I guess the last thing I need to ask then is just where do you want people to find you?
Yeah, so I'm my main my main channel is Twitch, obviously. I stream pretty inconsistently, so I don't really have a schedule. I just kind of stream when I want to. Um, you can follow me on Twitter as well. I'm on Blue Sky, not very active there, unfortunately, but that's all right. You can also subscribe to me on YouTube, I guess. I don't upload a ton, mostly just when I PB. I also did some short form content for a little bit, but kind of got out of that. Should get back into it though. It's pretty fun.
Mm. What about full or longs? The longs. That's
I
what
would
they're called.
love to. I would love to do the longs, but like editing
It's
is
hard.
hard,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, you don't have to tell me. How do people make content, man?
I know
It's
it's
hard.
People are so creative. I'm just here.
True. That's a vibe. Well, I guess I think we're done here. So thank everyone for watching. You know where to find the links. I hope. I've done a lot of these. um yeah, I really got nothing else to say other than thanks for watching. Take care. And see you next episode. All right, bye.